good to see you, Steve.
Doc, it's good to see you. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I know that you were in the hospital last month.
Yeah. Well, it was another one. But it's fine. I'm out now. I'm doing better.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're doing better.
Oh, yeah.
I was hoping that we could take a step back today and talk about where things are with your illness and where they might be going. Would that be okay?
But I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay now. I don't see why we got to have a big conversation. I thought we were just going to talk about my meds and kick me back out on the street.
It's really important to talk about your meds, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But I do this with all of my patients because it helps me understand what's most important to you so that you can have as much control as possible over your medical decisions. And I'm going to use this conversation guide just to make sure that we don't miss anything. Is that all right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to start by asking, what's your understanding now of where you are with your illness?
I don't know. To be honest, I got a lot wrong with me. I mean, I got my kidneys, I got my lungs, I got my hip, I got my knees. It's been, especially the past year, it's been tough.
Yeah.
But, I'm confident that I'm a positive guy, and I stay positive. I work day to day, and I make sure that I get through this.
Yeah.
That's how I do things.
And your strength and your positivity has been really remarkable through this whole process. I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
So in thinking about the future, how much information about what's likely to be ahead would you like from me?
I should know everything that I should know everything.
Yeah.
Just, keep the medical terms to a minimum because they cloud my head.
I also hope that you can keep getting through this. But I'm worried that because of the recent hospitalizations and because it's been getting harder for you to do things you used to do at home, I'm worried that this may be as strong as you feel and that your illness may worsen and it may get harder to manage at home.
Wasn't expecting that.
This isn't what you were hoping to hear, and it's not what I was hoping to have to say.
So what are you saying?
I hope that you can keep maintaining like this for some years, but I'm worried that something could happen quickly and that we need to be prepared in case things don't go as we hope.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
This is really hard to hear. Say more about what you're thinking.
I'm just thinking about my family, my wife and my little girl. It's gonna break their hearts.
I know how important they are to you.
They're everything to me.
And so what we're talking about today is, you can think of it as a plan B. So
Plan Bs are good.
we'll stay on track. We're going to hope that you keep maintaining, but it's important to talk about a plan B so that we can be prepared, you and your family, for future changes.
I like Plan Bs.
Yeah. So, if your health situation were to worsen, Steve, what are your most important goals? What's most important to you?
Well, being there for my family. My wife she's not a youngster anymore, and I gotta make sure that she's taken care of financially. I gotta make sure that she's taken care of physically.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's 28 now. She doesn't have anybody special, but I mean, one of the things that I've always looked forward to doing is walking her down the aisle. So if you could keep me around long enough for that, Doc, I'd appreciate it.
We're going to keep hoping for that. We're going to work toward that goal. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
So it sounds like you have long-term goals, being there for your daughter, to walk her down the aisle, and some short-term goals, being around for your family, being present for them, being with them. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are your fears and worries about the future with your health?
Well, I'm afraid of being helpless. I'm afraid of being weak. I've always been the strong one in my family, and these hospitalizations have been really hard. It's been hard for my wife to get down here. My daughter feels like she has to drop everything. She has a busy life, and she has to come down and look after her daddy, and I don't like that.
Yeah. So it sounds like having your family come into the hospital can be hard sometimes.
Very hard.
And you worry about your family and their well-being through this.
Yeah.
Is that right? And I think you've talked about some of this already, but what gives you strength as you think about the future?
My wife and my daughter are the center of my life, and I mean, what gives me strength is when my daughter comes over for Sunday dinner, and in the summertime, we usually have time to take a little walk down to the park, and she brings her dog, and I sit on the bench and watch her play with my daughter, and that gives me strength.
And what abilities are so critical to your life that you can't imagine living without them?
I think, I need to be able to speak. I made my living off my gift of gab, and that's the most important thing to me. But maybe just as important as being able to eat.
Yeah.
We've always been kind of a foodie family, so that eating and speaking. I think I can get away with, I've gotten used to not being able to walk around much. I never was a very sporty guy, so, as long as I can make it to the bathroom on my own, I think I'm okay.
So it sounds like sharing a meal with your family, being able to communicate with them, that's really important to your quality of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you were to become sicker, how much are you willing to go through for the possibility of gaining more time?
Well, I'm you know me, I've been willing to do anything that you throw at me as long as it's a short-term thing. I don't want any, I don't want to be, I'm used to the hospital now. I feel like I'm a veteran. I can go in and I can get out. I've been in rehab. They've been short, which is good. I don't like rehab. So I guess anything you got that's a short-term treatment, bring it on. But if it's something where I'm going to be stuck in the hospital for weeks on end, that's not for me.
Yeah. So it sounds like if we think we can turn things around so that you can go back to your life, your quality of life that is most important to you, you would consider things like hospitalizations and other treatments
Absolutely.
or procedures. But if we're ever worried that we can't turn things around, it might be, you might not make that same decision.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I might not want to do that.
Yeah. And how much does your wife and daughter know about your priorities and wishes? What you just shared with me.
Well, I think she knows what I know. But of course, I wasn't expecting what you had to say today, so she may not know that. Yeah. And as far as my daughter's concerned, I would rather that I know she likes to know what's going on with Daddy, and I know she's got in touch with you. But listen, I would appreciate it if she does, if you just tell her that Daddy is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes. You're in the driver's seat here, so yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
At the same time, what I've heard, the theme that I've heard through all of this is being strong and supporting your family. And that's really important. So I think there's a lot you can do to prepare your wife and your daughter for the possibility of future changes in your health. And some of what you shared with me today would be very helpful and important for them to know. And so my recommendation would be for us to meet, have an appointment together.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about some of these things again. And we can also involve our social worker who can help, because these conversations can be hard.
Yeah. I'd appreciate that.
How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I mean, when I talk to my wife, like I said, I try to be really positive about it, and sometimes maybe some of the details might get lost.
Yeah. And I think that that's very normal and completely understandable. And I think that we, when we come back together, we can talk about as much or as little as you'd like.
Okay.
Whatever you're most comfortable with.
Thank you, Doctor.
I just want to say that I'm going to be with you through all of this, every step of the way, with you and your wife and your daughter. And that I know that this conversation was hard and emotional. And I just wanted to say thank you for talking about this. I think that it's going to help all of us take the best care possible,
Thank you.
give you the best care possible.
I appreciate that.
So let's get that appointment set up.
Okay.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.